So today we are mainly be focusing on designing bag in different perspective or ideating it. So how your hand is in flow is very much important because as you see the form of a bag, they are very curvy or very flowness in nature. So how you are making your design in a flow is very much important while ideating. And when you are ideating such type of manipulative form, your hands need to be in a flow of imagination. I would say how you could manipulate very easily by moving your hand based on your thought process is so important, so that you come up with a right ideation or right uh, proportion with the form, understanding with right movements of hand, and then manipulating your thought based on it. It's literally been very important. So, and try to draw as light as you can, so that you could understand that your form is need to be as proportion based on your imagination. And it's one of the important point, I would say, ki how you trying to draw in your first stage. So as you could easily be think see that I'm just trying to be less and less detailing and having of surface transition understanding in terms of its use case, in terms of form, how and what feature I have given. Based on that, where depth is needed, where depth is not needed, based on that I'm just hatching and putting hatching on that there, so that uh, a basic understanding about surface and then form is always be pop out when you keep a basic transition of surface and giving a shadow depth through hatching. You could find the design more manipulative, much more easy to understand in based on its use case. It's important to having such type of thought, impression, and making things around it. The another side we can't see. So in that case, now you have to be detailed it out, and that is important. That so that you could make your design pop out, or you could make your surface showing that yeah, this is the end, and from there it has been manipulated. So it's important to having a dark impression at there, so that it could easily be understand that oh, surface is basically ending at there, and that will the darkness will create a depth uh, on that, which makes it look more realistic, much more proportionate, and having a right impression of depth and logistic understanding of form with follow feature. So as you could see, I'm just trying to give a line weight as lighter as I could, and then understanding what kind of feature I could give at a specific point. Now you could understand. Let's just darken it out, and then we will discuss how it's going to be manipulated further ahead. So now you could understand how the form is basically look like, and how it has been create a manipulative ideas, and how uh, roughly it has been drawn, and then come up with a look which is how it's going to be look like, and having a right proportion with it. The proportion is something is very much logical when you are seeing it, because as in your regular life, how you think or how you see the product is very important. let's just first ideate, and then I will discuss what are the point I had been follow. See, now you could easily imagine how much manipulative you are. It's good to go with new kind of form, because your hand need to be very much manipulative in terms of art and design ideations level, because when your hand move very freely, you could easily imagine the shape and the sizes which is required at the specific moment of your ideation. And that's how things make a great change in terms of its logic, in terms of its feature. So now you could easily imagine how it's going to be look like, a basic understanding about your ideas and how you gonna try on your ideation page if you want to ideate. So see, the main, there are two three aspects which you need to be taken care when you are ideating. Make yourself a like a very freedom piece, like where you have a good freedom on your page. Just move your hand how you want to manipulate, how you want to translate your ideas. Just move your hand based on that. There is no restriction need to be there. And when you start doing your things in such perspective now, so let's start some front sketch, like how backs will look like from front side. So again I would say ki, be a manipulative guy, be a very much go with the flow, and that's how things mainly make your impressive ideation will always become when your hand will go with flow. So let's just imagine how it's going to be look like, and then we will discuss based on it. So hear the sound of the hands, how it's going to be in flow. And as you could easily be see that how line depth is important to having some of the specific feature which you want to give a pop-off effect, I would say pop-off, so that it could easily be recognized at the first attempt when you are understanding the design. So there is always when you are designing, there always be some important feature which you want to showcase in the first stage of watching your design, and that kind of feature is always be understandable in first attempt is how much line depth you has given at there and how much depth you has given. So that is something which is little bit internal and based on your practice, that how you want to translate it and show it in front of your ideations, which makes a strong impact, and then follow up based on it, where you could imagine depth in more depth understanding wise. So as you could see, I'm just trying to give a very little bit, as much less I'm trying to give, and trying to understand how easily I could get a depth without putting a lot many lines. As you could see in my earlier sketches, I have given so many lines, and there I am using some other pen where I have to give a depth. I have used multiple times of my hand to give such type of depth, but when we use direct ink pen or a kind of micron and all, they are very easy to give transition, very easy to give depth. So there you have to be use your hand so much lightly so that you doesn't mess with the design of your or ideation. Just by start some random hands, understanding what I'm trying to visualizing and giving that kind of imagination to my work. And it's just, yeah, that's all. And then here I just want to look it like that way, and then yeah, still there are limitation. You just not be a artistic person, you are just you imagining things. There should be a limitation of possibilities. What are the possibilities of such type of form? So it's need to be there, it's always be there in your every design, whatever you are doing. So there is a limitations with it, but while ideation, you just little bit give freedom to your hand so that you may lose some of the limitations, but it's good to having multiple ideations with limitations, with not limitation, and then coming up with a final limited where you just limit your thought process and having a specific design which has follow all the relative feature which is important, and with the possibilities of production, with possibilities of prototyping. So there are limitations, there are not limitations. It's totally depend upon you how you are ideating it. Let's trying to give a depth which are seriously when visualize. So I'm just first filling the flat color, and then I will giving depth with the light color, so that I do have some better understanding, or we do have some better understanding about the form, depth, and the space behind every feature. So it's always be important to understand the feature as much. Based on depth understanding, and then we could jump on some another part of design. So let's just manipulate the depth look like. Now you could understand how I'm just trying to give a color a specific place where it's need to give in terms how it's going to feel. Again, when you are doing coloring, do fun while understanding the depth of the form, and then try to translate it on your design. So as you could see, I'm just giving depth at this point, then having a better fun. Now for today we gonna wind up session at here. This is just a rough understanding of the ideas. Thank you for the watching the video, and stay tuned.